Here we are again, the start of a new month, and this is halfway through the year. So let's check out some stats and see how that Halifax market is performing so that you've got all the details. Hey everyone, it's Richard Payne here, and we are at the start of a brand new month here in June in the Halifax real estate market. And as always, I want to give you all of the information we possibly can so that when you're out there looking at houses, when you're thinking of listing your house, when you're looking at income properties, you're fully informed of the information you need to make a smart decision when we're buying houses. So let's get into some numbers because, like I said, it's the first half of the year. It's done. We're now into the second half of the year. We've had that one interest rate reduction. Maybe there's some more coming, like not really going to forecast that, but let's look at some numbers. Okay, let's get into some numbers here because, of course, the average sale price is the biggest thing everybody has on their mind. And this month we hit $646,750, pretty close to last month. Last month was $644,000, so not really that much change in terms of the average price, which is fairly surprising because we did have an awful lot of different prices this month. But on average, when you take it over the number of sales, it kind of worked out the same. But let's compare it to last year. That was $597,000, so we are up 8% compared to last year, which is a pretty healthy increase from June last year to June this year. Now, we know that we are still struggling a little bit with inventory, but when you look at that, that's a pretty hefty price jump to go from roughly like a $48,000 price increase from one year to the next. So it still shows that we are in a pretty strong seller's market. So inventory wise, we are at 1.8 months of inventory. So definitely a strong seller's market there. 1.7 last month, 1.3 last year. So last year was even lower, but we've seen an increase of 8% in the price. So it's interesting when you start trying to put these numbers together to make sense of the whole thing. And I think it literally comes down to the fact that yeah, the prices are definitely going up, and we have seen quite a lot of over the $1 million numbers in the last like 4 or 5 months, and certainly this month, Halifax South, you know, their average price point of what sold was 1.5 million. And a lot of the other markets, you know, especially when you look at the Dartmouths and when you look at the Sackville area, they've been creeping up and basically staying up compared to even last year. So I think that's definitely got an effect on the numbers. When we look at the total number of sales, that was 474. Last month, it was 490, so we're down a little bit on that. Last year, though, was 515. So we're definitely down like 5% on last year, which, again, shows you that, you know, maybe the interest rates have had an effect. We did see a little bit of a decrease in the month of June for the interest rates. Maybe there's going to be another announcement in July. We will do this, and we will see and wait what happens because, of course, the higher the price points, the higher the mortgages are going to be. And of course, the higher the interest rate makes the mortgage payments even more. So that's a definite factor that we're kind of looking at here. And that's something that buyers, you've got to be aware of. You know, what does this market mean for buyers? It means you've got to be really careful because interest rates, we are hoping are going to come down. No guarantees, there never is. Although, like, you know, 4.89, 4.99 for a 5-year fixed is pretty good. Don't do that. Like, go for a 3-year fixed because, you know, at least then you've steadied the payment for 3 years. And in 3 years, well, you know, hopefully the interest rates are down a bit. So definitely don't lock in for the full 5 years. Variable is another option, but it's probably a little bit more expensive to take right now. So just be careful when you're choosing the mortgage products that you got. Anyway, we're talking about stats, so let's get back into stats. Number of homes active right now, we are 857. Last month, that was 833. So again, not a huge amount of change there, but last year, 664. So we're up more or less 30% in terms of the active homes for sale this year compared to last year. So pretty big jump there. And yeah, we've definitely seen like more listings come on the market, but we'll kind of cover that off later on as well. Days on market, this is a big change from last year. Like we're at 37 days on market this month. We were at 28 last month, so we're up 9 days on that. And last year was 24, so we're up 13 days on last year. And I think that's the key thing that you're looking at here is sellers are definitely pricing kind of like fairly accurate, I would suggest, because When we look at the sale to list price, that's at 100.5, so 100.5%. So you're not getting that much over asking price. Now, yes, some markets definitely going over, some markets definitely going under, some markets more or less at asking price. But the trigger here is the 37 days on market, because that shows you that houses are definitely sticking around longer on the market, which means houses are going to have to do those price reductions to actually get the attractive offer to make the property actually work for the buyer that's got to take on the mortgage and all that kind of stuff. So that 37 days on market is really the key number that I'm looking at here. Now, it did go down April into May, and I was kind of like, oh, this is going the wrong way. But now we shot back up again to 37 days. So that tells you as well that maybe some of the older properties on the market are actually selling, probably selling for a bit under asking price, which is keeping that sale to list price number basically the same. Because, yeah, 100.5 sale price to list price is more or less the same. So those are the basic key stats. Now, what does it mean for sellers? It means you've got to do accurate pricing. Like we've been saying this for quite some time. But if you're not accurate in your pricing, you're not going to get the offer, and you're not going to basically get through to the closing day line where you can realize the whole point of putting your house up for sale. So you've got to watch that and make sure that your price, the condition, and the location all factor in well to get that offer that you're looking for, and then you can kind of move forward from there. One of the big things I always talk about is that new to sale listing ratio. So how many new houses came on versus the houses that were sold. This month we had 553 new houses. We know that there was 474 sold. That puts us at an 86% sale to new listing ratio. Last month that was 671 versus 490 sold. That was 73%. So a lot more new listings last month came on versus what we sold. Now last year it was pretty much the other way around. It was like 540 new, 515 were sold. So 95%, more or less, the new listings that came on actually got sold. Now, not the new listings that were listed, just listings. So houses sold versus what was put in terms of new listings to the market was more or less the same. This month, we're obviously gone the other way. We've put roughly 70 something new houses onto the market. So it's another factor that you kind of talk to. Like I always use my photographer as the leading indicator for how many new houses are going to come up for sale. If he's really busy, that means he's photographing houses. Means therefore there should be some new houses coming up. But we only listed 553 in June, which is not a big number. Now last year again that was only 540, so there's a bit of similarity last year to this year, but we just haven't seen that spring market that we were all expecting, with quite a few listings coming on. It's just not turned up this year. So it's going to be really interesting as we kind of get into August into September, maybe September into October, to see if we get fall listings that are coming up for sale and we get more of those as well. So we will just have to wait and see. I know that we've got quite a few listings coming up, but again, it's that timing thing of like, when are the sellers ready to go versus when will the house be ready and photograph and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be very interesting to watch what happens there. Right, top markets. Let's look at those. We've always said this, that it doesn't change too much. It's just the order of the top markets change. So number one, we are at Timberley Prospect, St. Margaret's Bay area. Their average sale price sits at $656,000. List price was $652,000. So that puts them at just over 100.6%, roughly a $3,000 sale price to list price increase. Days on market there were only 15. Like, that's not a lot. So obviously the houses that went up for sale in June in that area were very attractive. They had 48 houses sold. That puts them at number one. Interesting, 120 for sale though. So it puts them at 2.5 months of inventory. So, you know, we've been used to these low levels all the way through. So it doesn't really make that big of an effect when you're kind of like, oh, 2.5 months. That's not a lot of inventory. But when you look at 120 homes for sale, feels like a lot. Then we go into number two. We're up in East Hants, Colchester West. So we're talking Elmsdale, Enfield, Lance area. They had an average sale price of $463,000. List price there, $463,000. So not really much change. 25 days on market, 43 houses sold, 110 houses active. Puts them at 2.6 months. So pretty similar. But again, that area is all about people going for the value for money. Like once you kind of get into that area, you definitely seem to get a little bit more for your money. So that's why that came in at number 2. Number 3, we hit up Bedford. Now their average sale price is $765,000 with an average list of $772. So that puts them at $7,500 lower than asking price, which is interesting then that, they obviously sold quite a lot of houses, but days on market there are 56. So that's another indication that, it was the older properties that were selling. Longer you've been on the market, chances are you're going to have to take an offer that's underneath your asking price. They sold 39 homes with 60 houses active for sale right now. That puts them at 1.5 months. So there's all the details that we've got on the Halifax market. If you haven't already hit the button to subscribe, stay tuned because we've got tons of information on the website, on the YouTube channel as well. So do what the little sign says here and subscribe.